Welcome back, my dear students. So let's go back to our lectures about connecting to a database. And we were able to connect to a database, right? Using MongoDB and using the Mongoose ODM, Object Document Mapper. And this is the last time I'm going to say what it means. Object Document Mapper. Okay. So I changed the var keyword here to const just because a const is a constant, and we are always going to have a Mongo client. We are not going to, reassign some other values to it. So this is always going to stay like this. Okay. So it is going to work. Now, what I wanted to, keep you informed is that after version 3.0 in MongoDB, we no longer have a database object here as a return value from this callback. We are going to have what is called a client object, and inside this client object, then we'll have the database object. Okay, so that's just one thing to keep in mind. Okay, now in this following lectures, we're going to be learning the CRUD using the Mongo client, the MongoDB client, like this, just because it's a little easier, and I want you to understand the fundamentals first before we jump into a ODM like this one, Mongoose, right? Where we organize our data in separate files, and then we go by what type of data are on those files. That's how we insert data, that's how we organize our data, and we fetch data from our database in a object format from using Mongoose. Okay, but we'll talk a little bit about this later on. I just wanted to show you how to connect using Mongoose. So now let's go ahead and start creating some data in this lecture using the Mongo client. Okay, so the first thing is that we need to pull the database out from this client object, and it's gonna be DB like this. Now we need to write the name of our, and if you notice, I took the name out of here. From here, I took it off. So it was like this before. Now we don't have that there. We have it down here. Okay. So now that we have the database, we can play around with it. Okay. Now we can't fetch any information out of it yet because we don't have that database there. But we can go ahead and create one. So we can use the database, use the method collection. Let's create a table, or in this case, because we're using MongoDB, it's not like MySQL, is a document. So we're going to create a document called mammals. And of course, this collection, we can chain other methods that are going to be able to insert data or fetch data or do whatever we want with it, with our data. So the first parameter in this insert one method is the data you want to insert. I want to insert the name. So I'm going to put this first key value is going to be horse, like this. So I'm naming it. I'm just gave it a name, any name, but I just gave it the key name, and the value horse. You can give it whatever keys or values you want. Okay. And that's it. That's all I want there. Now, the second parameter here is going to be a callback function. We either get an error or we get a result. And we're going to use the new syntax of ES6 or ECMAScript 6. And we're just going to say if error, then return console log. And we just say error here like that. Okay, we can do that. Let's make it so that way you can be a little more familiar with the code. Okay, like this. But and then we can say console.log insert it like that. Okay, so let's take this out of here and let's just put it right here. Very, 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 very easy. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's do nomon app, enter, and we got an error here. Of course, it says log, because I wrote it in my head and forgot to put it on the piece of paper or this line there. So it says insert it here. So that means the data is there. Now we can go ahead and visit Compass, which is the little application we downloaded, right? Let's connect to it. Right here. And we have a database called animals right here. And it says 2 documents here. It's just because I already did it before. Okay. I already inserted a document before this one. But as you can see here, the document is there. Now we can see it as a table there, but cool. All right, and I want you to pay very close attention to this document. It has something called an object ID. Okay. This is inserted automatically by MongoDB every time you insert a new document. Every new document will have a object ID or an ID by default, and it's gonna be random. And we can access that and change it if we wanted to. Okay, and I will explain just a little bit about it in the next lecture. Thank you.